You got yours. I have been enjoying the Schadenfreude here for a long time, and I am pleased to finally have something worth sharing myself. My wife came to me with some unexpectedly happy news, and I feel it meets the expectations of petty revenge readers. Some backstory: my Mill has spent her life cultivating a career of emotional terrorism, visiting it upon her children and grandchildren with extreme prejudice, along with most anyone who gets close to any of those aforementioned. She's narcissistic, bipolar, and just a mess. My Bill, wife, and kids all have some manner of trauma traceable to my Mill's influence. My Phil, comparatively, has been a saint of a man from what I can tell, aside from losing marks by way of enabling his wife's behavior over the years. Phil helped us purchase our home in the same neighborhood many years ago when we had trouble with a loan, with plenty of passive aggression from Mill on the matter in the background. It was bought outright with the equity of Phil Mill's home. We pay the mortgage towards their equity loan monthly. This has also led to Mill referring to us as her tenants, passing herself as the owner of the home, etc., in some really embarrassing ways. Phil has passed away recently. Mill has a long history of making everything, from her son's coming out, to her daughter's divorce, about her. This, as expected, has been an endless wealth of drama from my Mill. My wife has been taking care of things around her home, while she wails as the grieving widow. Wife recently discovered that most of the house bills were unpaid and that some were headed to collection soon. Wife gathered up the bills and made spreadsheets, presenting them to my Mill. Her first reaction was to wail incoherently. When my wife suggested ways to resolve the debt, my Mill became hateful towards her. You just want to get your hands on our money. Now, Phil did extremely well in planning his retirement. He managed a portfolio that left him and his wife close to $750,000, and they've enjoyed a modestly extravagant decade, doing literally anything they pleased. Phil managed all the finances, and so they fell into slight disrepair in his absence. Any time it came up, cue the hysterics. Hence, my wife's offer. My wife, who has ever been the dutiful daughter despite the constant put-downs and harassment from her mother, suggested that she explore a power of attorney, so that my wife could consolidate her finances, get a lawyer to manage the estate and see to any bills, and arrange for a will if she so wished. After a week of silence, my wife received a rather vitriolic message from Mill: "I'm doing the power of attorney, but I'm giving it to your brother." I neglected to mention that any prior whisper of a will was met with daggers from Mill, and her favorite phrase on the matter was "Don't even ask. You got yours." We're definitely not banking on getting a cent of inheritance. We made our peace with it, no problem. But it is salt in the wounds my Mill has dealt my wife, Bill, and the kids over their respective lifetimes. Enter my Bill. He was the firstborn, and he has never put up with any of the crap my Mill has tried to sling at him. He grew up shielding my wife from the bulk of her outbursts, at least partially, and calls Mill out on her behavior. As a result, a neat little phenomenon occurred where, as my wife seeks Mill's approval and affection, my Mill seeks the same from Bill. Bill doesn't like the raw deal Mill has been giving my wife. He takes the power of attorney and consolidates all the debts, sets up the estate, etc. In doing so, he digs into all the accounts. Turns out, Phil had set aside money for his kids and grandkids, in addition to his retirement, to the tune of about $200K each. Mill seems to have had no intention of passing it along. Good thing Bill is now acting executor, thanks to the power of attorney. So, after seeing after the care of Mill to the end of her days and the management of her estate, unbeknownst to her, Bill paid off the entirety of the outstanding equity on Mill's home. which paid off our home. And he released access to the trusts belonging to him and my wife, and put the trust for our kids in my wife's name. We now have the potential to be completely debt-free before the end of the year. This is life-changing. My wife is over the moon, and obviously, so am I. It will be all the sweeter if my mill decides to crack at my wife with that "you got yours again." My wife can just smile, and nod, and know that it's really true. Well-deserved comeuppance for her and Bill after what they've had to endure under Mill all their lives. Hope you enjoyed. Redditor's reactions, story 2 after. Redditor 1, your wonderful brother-in-law made sure that everyone got theirs. Being an executor is hard work and I admire him taking it on. It's great that he doesn't let his spiteful mother manipulate him. I've experienced that when someone dies, people show their true selves when money is involved. Redditor follow-up, the important part is the Bill is just carrying out his father's will estate distribution as was intended. Redditor 2, massive ups to your Bill for being honorable and fulfilling his and your wife father's wishes. Money can always bring the worst of someone's character to the surface. It could have been easy to take a hard line and not do that. Redditor 3, that Bill would have a place at my table any day for the rest of his life. Story 2, my friend's wife and her are adultery, no one seen it coming. My good friend just got married on 18th of August this year. The wedding was a wonderful day, they had a nice honeymoon, they seemed so in love all through relationships. After they got back to reality, around a week and a half later his wife said she needed a break and left the family home. 2 days later she had slept with another bloke from work. She kept my friend's hopes up for about a month and he was still thinking that there's a chance that they can come back together after her space. She gave no indication that they was generally splitting up. Or no indication there was someone else. He confront her and she said no, there no one else. A month went by and then she told him she cheated. He still told her he wanted to try to work on the marriage. She declined again and again. A few weeks went by and he found out that the whole time they been on a break she been with the other guy temporarily living with him, even though she said she was at friends' or family's houses. She still continues to live temporarily with this new bloke. She told my friend that it just feels like she is filling a void. Also that it doesn't feel right, but she loves the new guy and has nowhere else to go for now, it's convenient. My friend still tries to help her where he can and still worries all the time about her. The damage she has caused, it's ridiculous. My friend has been destroyed ever since it all happened. I never seen him like this. She was a stepmother to his children for the time they was together, so it has affected the whole family as she was such a big part of everyone's life. She was an inspiration to the children, to be honest. She blames it on the fact that family life was getting a bit too much and she needed alone time, but she already knee-deep into another person's life. He still misses her every single day. We all told him move on and forget about it or do what you think's best. But he continues to struggle in day-to-day life. It's had such a big effect on him. Any advice would be much appreciated. Thank you. Redditor's reactions, story 3 after. Redditor 1, tell your friend to stop being a doormat and divorce his wife. If grounds of infidelity can be shown as valid ground for divorce not to pay alimony, he should use that. Also, he should go in for individual therapy. There are certain issues that came to the forefront, primarily low self-esteem and fear of abandonment. What she did was a huge slap on his face, yet he kept on trying. Redditor 2, a week of family life was too much. Bullshit. They lived together before the wedding, I'm assuming. Which means getting married just changed some paperwork. Your life continues on just like it was before. She was most likely with the other dude for a while and finally caught feelings enough or convinced him finally to let her move in. Your friend needs to call a lawyer and eject her from his life. Redditor 3, be there to support your friend, but it sounds like you realize it's over. He needs to see about maybe an annulment, might be better than a divorce. Either way, he needs to end that relationship in a real, legal sense. Story 3, everyone warned me but I didn't listen. Okay, so here goes my story. Back in late 2017 I was dating my best friend's cousin. Things didn't work out so we broke up. About a month later I met this girl who most of my friends already knew, and she had a reputation of being a big-time hoe. She also had a kid who back then was about 3 years old. We eventually started dating and everything was fine until one day in June of 2018. One of my friends asked me if I could give him a ride to work, so I said yes. My ex and her kid were with me, so we all went to drop my buddy off. He worked at a barbecue restaurant here in Florida. Anyway, we get to the restaurant and my friend told me to come inside, that he was gonna give me a plate of food as a thank you for the ride. We go inside and the kid happened to have the mom's phone. He then asked to go to the bathroom, so I take him. Keep in mind he still has the phone. So while I'm waiting for the kid to finish, she gets a text, so I happened to look at it and it said, "Am I gonna see tonight, babe?" I was like, WTF. I stormed out of the bathroom and confronted her ass about it, and she didn't know what to say. I walked to my car, threw out the car seat and left them both there. Everyone warned me about that hoe. Now that I look back, it just makes me laugh now. Redditor's reactions. Story 4 after. Redditor 1, did you pick up the free barbecue plate before you left the hoe? Op answer, damn right I did. Redditor 2, good thing you were only 6 months in when you found out, but I feel bad for the kid. He had no clue as to his mother's misdeeds and was an innocent bystander. You leaving him so suddenly was probably very traumatic for him. Redditor 3, TBH, you got away pretty well. OFC, you were angry and hurt. But whom I'm really sorry for is her kid. I mean, just think about how it was for him when you left so quickly. Like all his childhood, he'll probably start to bond with men his mom's dating, and then they all leave surprisingly. That sounds quite traumatic to me, especially BC. He neither understands why, and I imagine it very hard when someone you like, look to and start to bond with as a father figure just leaves you. Story 4, advice, please. I know she's cheated, but I'm frozen in place. I need help, please. My wife 47F and I 50M have been married 15 years. 14 months ago, I became aware that she had developed feelings for a co-worker. I confronted her about this. She said it was just a dumb crush, and that it would stop. Wanting to be the ever-supportive spouse, and hating conflict, I forgave her and we moved on. However, through extensive snooping, I know these feelings have continued to the point where she loves him, or at least once did. Lately, it's all cooled off a decision they made together, and she's acting mostly back to how she did before this happened. I understand some of you see this as a black and white issue. She cheated. Boot her out and ruin her life. But that's just not who I am. Here are the things I struggle with, and why I haven't addressed this yet. 1. We have 5 kids aged 8-16, and this would devastate them and uproot everything in their lives. 2. She and I get along fine. I mean, are my needs really met? No. And am I constantly thinking about this? Yes. But life in the house is very calm and very safe for everyone. 3. Even if I do bring up the issue about the other guy, how I came to find out heavy snooping isn't something I know how to justify. and I know is a bell that is impossible to unring. 4. Financially, a divorce would make life miserable, even borderline unsurvivable in some ways. My therapist says until I know what I want, I shouldn't bring it up, something I agree with. And even if I do figure that out and bring it up, how exactly do I do it when she can be volatile? I guess my questions are: 1. What strategies would you suggest for determining what I want from this? 2. Until I know what I want, is there any point in seeing a lawyer? 3. Any strategies anyone can offer for bringing this all to light with her? 4. Let's say in a perfect world she does a complete 180 and starts showing me all of the attention and affection I need. I'm pretty sure I can't get past some of the things she wrote in her journal about his place in her life and heart. How do people move on? Like I said, it's not as black and white for me as others would see it, but I'm looking for advice. This is the only thing in my head most days, and it's starting to change who I am as a person. Thanks in advance for any help offered. Redditor's reactions. Redditor 1, it is black and white. You're adding yellow to this to avoid conflict. Conflict was there, it happened. She had a relationship with someone else while married to you, and you ducked your head in the sand. Your needs aren't being met, but the house is calm and peaceful. That's called content, and not happy. You can't justify snooping. Alienation of emotions from your partner, the intimacy you required was given to someone else. Someone lived a love story with your wife without even having to help with your mortgage. All of that is justifiable. If you can't stand up and look another person in the face and say that's my wife, back off, then is she your wife? Or is she a roommate that shares the bills? Where is your passion? Where is the fire in you op? You wanna be happy. Get that fire back, don't be content, don't be afraid to cross a line. Do you walk into a room where your wife is and look at her like predator about to pounce on some prey? Do you walk up to her, give her a grab and whisper in her ear, mine? I hate cheaters, but I hate lackluster reasons for staying together more. You want happy op? Get your passion back. Get your zeal for life back. Ready to follow up, this whole I'm the bad person because I snooped crap drives me nuts. If you suspect someone is being unfaithful, and you snoop their phone and find out you're correct, how was that snooping a bad thing? Invasion of privacy, my ass? How about responsibility to yourself to not catch the clap? Redditor 2, sounds like you need to learn to be a little selfish. I bet you are so used to taking care of your family that you don't know how to even ask for what you want. Create some distance from your wife and see how it feels. Hit the gym. Find some hobbies just for you. Learn that it's okay for you to be happy and enjoy things by yourself or with friends. Redditor 3, why do you feel you have no value? You are willing to forego any future, at age 50. I am sad that you think so little of yourself. Fast forward. In 10 years, one of your children will come to you. Dad, X did X abused your child. BTW, infidelity is abuse. Honey, you need to leave, I will help in any way you want. Dad, I can't leave, I have to do everything to fix this. You taught me that? Redditor follow up, dropping truths like it ain't no thing. As usual, it is often suggested, what would you tell your best friend in the same position? What would you tell your son or daughter when they are adults in the same position? Would you want them to compromise themselves? Redditor 4, I'll just say this, when my brother found out about his first wife's affair he kept quiet, did more digging, tried to act normal until he just couldn't any longer. It got messy, bad confrontation. Then they decide to reconcile for their son. It destroyed my brother and he slowly became a defeated, broken version of himself that no one recognized. 3 years later we got him help, and he finally chose himself, divorced, and started to breathe again. Whatever you decide, be 100% committed to it and don't lose yourself in the process if you stay. You don't get over it, ever. It doesn't stop haunting you, ever, but if you stay you'll need coping strategies and 100% full commitment in return from your wife. Sometimes kids are better off with 2 separate healthy homes than 1 miserable home. Good luck. Redditor 5, first. How you came to find out. You don't have to tell her anything. Just keep saying you know what has been going on. On the subject of snooping. Some argue about rights to privacy. I contend that your right to know warrants your snooping. You have a right to use any means necessary to obtain the truth. One way or the other. Your right to know trumps her right to privacy. Second. This is one that is dear to me. My cheating wife spent a lot of time making me feel like I was a terrible father. She was the mother that went the extra mile on everything for the kids. But it was part of her pathology. In all things she has to be liked best. That is the important thing. My point here is, my wife didn't give a crap about what would happen with the kids while she spread her legs for some other guy. In this same vein, your wife doesn't give a damn about the effect this will have on your family. In fact, there is a good chance that she knows that your children's welfare will figure in on your decision of what to do. She is betting that even if you did know what she was doing, you wouldn't do much about it. Add to that your self-admitting aversion to confrontation and she probably feels she can do what she wants with no real consequences. The money issue really is the sticker. I really know what you mean. I'm much older than you and believe me, the older you get the harder it is. We had a saying at work. It's cheaper to keep her. My only goal now is to outlast her. My final revenge. All I can say is don't let her think she's getting away with this crap.